What's up, everybody? Welcome in to A to Z Sports Picks. Brian and I are going to have a great show for you this Friday. Get you all set up not only for the NFL weekend, but your first look at college football bowl games as well. Brian, my man, looking sharp as always, sir. How we doing?
Thank you, sir. Doing great, man. Doing great. I've got the one bowl game that I've already made my largest wager of the year on, and I can't wait to discuss.
You are ready to go. I love it, man. Everybody, welcome in A to Z Sports Picks. I'm Alan Bell, CBS Sportsline, alongside Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com. A to Z Sports Picks is brought to you every Friday by BetMGM, the king of sports books. Visit BetMGM and use promo code A to Z Sports. That's ATOZ Sports to get a risk-free bet of up to $1,000 on pro football. That's BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older. Must be present in the state of Tennessee. For gambling problem support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. All right, Brian. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this now. First, all right, and we're going to start with college football bowl games here. All right. Before we do that, I want to get your thought process on betting college football bowl games because the transfer portal is the most active that we've ever seen. You're going to have a ton of players that are opting out, whether going to the NFL, whether whatever, right? Like, I feel like this is probably the craziest bowl season that we're ever going to see. So
Ever.
What's your thought process going into this?
Well, normally my two things I talk about with bowl games are location and motivation. But now those two factors pale in comparison to roster attrition, who's going in the portal, and now you got, I mean, it used to be just the last 3 to 5 years, if you're a first round pick, you're not going to play in the bowl game. Now, I mean, if you're going to be a fifth round pick, they're not playing the bowl game. So you got to be on top of that. Don't make any bets until you got a pretty good grasp of. And look, some of them may not announce till much later, and you kind of just never know. I mean, sometimes we've had, or at least not so much recently. Now that we've got Twitter and can look things up and do a search for a certain name that you might be uncertain about. But I mean, I remember 10, 15 years ago. I mean, the game would come on. 90 seconds before kickoff, they'd have a graphic with like the 8 guys are going to be out. But you've already made your bet and you're just screwed. So so location and motivation is still a factor, but the biggest factor is knowing who's going to be in uniform. And I'm not saying it's an easy process. Fortunately, it seems like all of them are jumping in the portal now. But even some of the guys that turn pro, some of them are saying that they will play in their bowl game. Some of them aren't saying at all, and you just got to get all that figured out, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. And especially man, you got to pay attention to, because it's generally going to be quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers that would make the largest difference, right? But also, if both safeties are gone, right? Like, I mean, there's so many factors. So I think you nailed it right there. All right. All that being said, I know you got a couple bowl games, man. What have you bet already? What are you on?
Well, so we don't have to worry about the stuff we just talked about for the CFP. At least for 2 games, we know we don't have to worry about that. So, Georgia and Ohio State. And, I was just, I had heard all year a lot of people I respect saying that they had this game, lined at Georgia minus 2.5 or 3 to Ohio State. And I was like, I don't know about that. And then with the way Michigan beat them without quorum, or at least for all but 2 carries the first possession, look, in my mind, Ohio State has faced 3 opponents that have a pulse offensively. That would be Penn State, Maryland, and Michigan. And Penn State scored 31 on them, Maryland scored 30, and Michigan scored 45 on them. Well, I'm here to tell you Georgia's got a better offense than all 3 of them. And Georgia did have some duds this year. The Missouri game, the Kent State game, the Samford game, but all the big ones, they showed up and showed out. They just murdered Oregon 49-3. Williams-Brice was packed for the Gamecocks. Go in there, beat them 48-7. 42-10 on Auburn. Jumped out on Florida 21-0. It was 28-3 at halftime. Now the Gators did battle back, but they responded with 2 touchdown drives. It was over 42-20. That was a tough spot at Mississippi State, 45-19. And then with LSU, what was it? Was it 35-7 right there before, less than a minute till the half? I know LSU got a field goal there.
Yeah.
So I just think Georgia has showed up in the big ones, and taking care of business. I think they'll do that here. Love Georgia, and I mean every which way you can bet it. And the books will probably come out with some adjusted lines. Like a minus 14.5 at like a plus 220. When all that stuff comes out later in the month, I'll be getting a little bit of those little nibbles of those too. But the big bet minus 6.5 on Georgia. Oh, and then my other one that I'm playing, Utah -3 to Penn State. Penn State's already had a few opt-outs, and even if Utah has a couple, I think Penn State may have more coming, and just in total are going to have more. And I think I like Utah against them if everybody was full strength. Utah played great against US, at least after the first quarter.
Yeah.
So those are my two.
Nice. All right. So, dude, first one for me, Georgia game. Everything that you lined out, 100%, I agree with. That being said, I'm playing the over in this game. Because you know what Georgia does? They score a ton. All right. And like I say that not saying I'm against playing Georgia on the spread. I agree with everything you laid out. You're looking at 6.5 under a touchdown. Ohio State is gonna put up some points, right?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna put up some points, and there is a quote unquote danger factor with them in terms of getting a second lease on life. Last week, Ohio State fans were yelling for Ryan Day to be fired, to bring in Mike Vrabel, right? Like, and you gave them life again. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to upset Georgia, but they're going to put up some points. So, long story short, like, I'm rolling the over there, and I agree with everything that you laid out.
I agree with the. I agree with the over as well. I'm just gonna sink all my eggs into the UGA basket. But if I had to play the total, I would definitely play it over.
Yep, I feel you on that one. The next one, dude, Michigan TCU under in that game. All right, Jim Harbaugh's an NFL coach. He's gonna.
What are we? 58.5, 59 on that? I'm asking.
Let me see. Oh, I've got it right in front of me here. It is. 58.5. Yeah. So. Okay. The reason I'm playing the under on that is this. Harbaugh is going to approach this game. And look, nothing against TCU. They've had a great year. Magical year. All right. But Michigan's a much better team than TCU. And what Michigan's going to do is say, I don't have to beat you 45-25. I could beat you 27-10 and run the football the whole damn second half of the game. Like, I could just play keep away. Like, you're going to have 3 and outs. And you know what? I'm going to take the ball. I'm going to have long drives. We might get a field goal. We might get nothing. But I'll punch you down to your 10, and I'm going to make you do it again. And good luck, right? I'm going to play the under in this one. This one screams an under to me. Last two that I have so far. Ole Miss, -3.5 against Texas Tech. Lane and that whole Auburn situation kind of looked like a jackass in all that. And it cost them the Egg Bowl because they didn't squash that thing before the game came. And if they did, I 100% believe Ole Miss wins that game. But you had an entire locker room that was sitting there. And I know that Lane said, I'm coming back, whatever. That's fine. You could say that until it's official. Nobody's believing it. So you had a bunch of Ole Miss players that are sitting there thinking, do I need to enter the transfer portal? Where do I need to go? Right. Like, they looked horrible in that game. But I think that Lane knows, and especially for recruiting, if you're going to give him, a national platform to play a game, he's going to show out in this one. So I'll take Ole Miss.
I agree with you on this one. I just was a little apprehensive about potential opt-outs, but I agree with you on this one for sure.
And you know what? That you bring up a good point too. Like, you don't have to bet it right now. I don't think the line's going to go crazy.
Well, it's come down. It's come down.
100%. It has, right? So
I even saw a couple of threes last night.
Yeah. So, it's a good one to just kind of like, put in your notes, on your phone. If you got a board, like whatever, like just kind of mark that one down. Keep an eye on it. I think that's a good one. All right. And last one, I'm going to throw this to you, Brian, because I don't know how I feel about it just yet, but this is my thought process.
When Oregon State, take
what?
It. Oregon State?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. When I'm talking about motivations, all right, I think the largest discrepancy could be Tulane and USC. USC, nothing to play for. Their season's over, obviously. All right. Caleb Williams probably going to win the Heisman. All right. I don't think he's going to play. And you look at Tulane.
Now, is he not going to play because he's injured from the injury?
No idea. I'm not confirming that. It's just my thoughts.
Right.
That I don't think that he's going to play. So again,
because he can't turn pro because he's a true sophomore. He can't turn pro. So but yeah, he got pretty banged up in that game.
Yo, absolutely. And just keep this one written down. You have to bet it right now. But Tulane, all that said on USC with no motivation, and if Caleb Williams doesn't play, then you got Tulane, who I think would be the most motivated of any team not in the college football playoff to win a bowl. They're going to be everything that bowl games are about, being excited to be there. They're going to take part in everything, fired up, smiling. And that's a good football team. So just keep
zero opt-outs. I'd be shocked if they have any opt-outs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this could be the biggest game that any of these guys ever play in, right? The hard part is that a lot of people agree with that, and the lines come down it's only USC being favored by 1.5. So, this felt better at 3.5.
Right.
So just something to write down. But that, going through the motivations of each one of these games, that one, the discrepancy in that one stuck out to me way more than a lot of the others, right? So, all right. Tell you what else sounds good?
I was just going to, real quick before you do that, I was just going to say, I did get Oregon State at -8 before Richardson and all them opted out because I knew that was coming. But now it's at 11. I'm not sure, but but I think it's Oregon State or pass. But anyhow, go ahead with the.
I feel you, man. Speaking of something that is not a pass at all.
Yes,
our friends at Omaha Steaks, man. Dude, getting the job done. Fall is in the air. That means fall grilling, cookouts, tailgate parties, so much more. Luckily, the flavor experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to savor all the flavors while fall with their mouth-watering assortments of perfectly aged steaks, ultra-juicy burgers, and easy-to-prepare comfort meals that are ready in a flash. Now is the perfect time to load up on all this incredible flavor and take advantage of 50% off site-wide by shopping their friends and family sale. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use our promo code A to Z, that's ATOZ, at checkout to get $30 off your order. All right, don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com and stock up today. Omaha Steaks isn't just steak, Brian. It's the best steak of your life, guaranteed. And don't forget to score that extra $30 off your order when you use A to Z at checkout. Omaha Steaks, perfect for those chilly and busy fall nights. You won't come close to getting this kind of quality at the grocery store. Visit omahasteaks.com, promo code A to Z at checkout. Minimum order may be required. Now, Brian, we need to take a look at Tennessee Titans. Okay? They're at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but that's not the largest news. Everybody knows the deal. GM John Robinson, gone, fired. You know what now? Mike Vrabel, the king of the throne of everything, the Tennessee Titans. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go first because I feel as strong as about this game as I could any game, college football, NFL, anything. If you like betting Mike Vrabel underdog games, it's been great. It's made us a lot of money. I don't know if there's any more powerful of a bet than Mike Vrabel. I just got everyone's attention game, right? I guarantee everyone at the facility was sharp, on point, people making food, the crew that was picking up the trash, right, for the city.
Grounds crew.
Everybody. There's no messing around anymore because the king is sitting over his throne and Mike Vrabel does not mess around with anything. I'm rolling Tennessee by far in this one. What do you think?
Well, I fade the Jag-offs every week, and this is no different. The Jags are 1-5 straight up and 1-4-1 against the spread in 6 road games. They're having to travel back-to-back weeks. They got absolutely mauled in Detroit. last week, and they've just been an absolute disgrace on the road ever since they got that early or mid-September win against the Chargers when the Chargers were super duper banged up at the time. So yeah, Titans minus 3.5 or 4. We're on the same page on this one.
Yep, 100%. Plus, you add in Trevor Lawrence, still banged up,
Yep.
right? Like, I didn't see the update for today. I know he hadn't
I,
practiced.
I
Yeah,
I saw that he was probable. Now I didn't. So I mean, I'm expecting him to play, but probably not at quite 100%. But I don't
yeah.
care if he's 100%.
I don't
I'm
either.
still,
I
yeah,
don't either. Like, this is my favorite play
yeah.
of all Tennessee Titans plays in this one. All right. While we're in the NFL, let's take a look around, man. What are you seeing from the rest of the league, man? What are your best bets?
All right, so Joe Burrow's never beaten the Browns, and they
Ever.
got
Isn't that
never.
weird?
Yeah,
And
that's
he's
great.
never lost to Mahomes. Is that right? Like,
Right, 3-0 against Mahomes and never an 0 for life against the Browns. But that's got him really fired up for this week. And ever since they got pimp slapped at Cleveland in that Thursday game, they've been terrific. They've won 4 in a row, both straight up and against the spread. For the season at home, they're 4-1, both straight up and against the spread. Since they got off to that 0-2 start, they are 8-2 straight up, 9-1 against the spread. And in the last 11 games, Joe Burrow has a 22-4 TDI ratio. And Deshaun Watson looked awful and out of shape last week. I think the Bengals put it on the Browns. I got them minus 5.5. I'm going to also go with the Steelers -2 to the Ravens. I think Tyler Huntley is a pretty decent backup. And he did play well last week, but he's still only 1-3 in his 4 career starts, and he's got a 3-5 career TDI ratio. And in the last 4 games, Kenny Pickett, 2 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions for a rookie quarterback. You know, playing in his, for I guess he had 2 or 3 starts before this. I don't know how many starts he's at right now, but bottom line is 4 games in a row, no interceptions. He's getting better every single week. They've won back to back, both on the road, and last week on a short week after playing Monday night, and they've won 3 of their last 4. So I like the Steelers, and then I'm also gonna go. I'm like all chalk this week. What could go wrong? I'm
hey,
gonna
you
go
want to
with
know a stat though? You want
yeah.
to know a
Go ahead.
stat real quick? I had a friend of mine text.
Did the chalk win outright in all of them except one last week? If I'm not
Yeah, it
mistaken.
was pretty high. And then also, I'll give you a stat here too. A friend of mine texted me the same thing. We were talking about, bets that we're looking at NFL wise. And he goes, dude, I just sent you a bunch of chalk. I said, well, let me tell you this. I was like, not in regards to the favorite, but in regards to home teams. All right. Over the last 2 weeks, and including last night in the NFL, home teams are 22-10 against the spread.
Oh,
So
nice,
there you
nice,
go.
nice.
Yeah.
All right, so let me quickly get through these next 2, and I'll be done. So I'm going to go with Detroit -2. They've played really good football 6 weeks in a row. The only losses to Buffalo by 3, to Miami by 4, and I think I think Buffalo's a top 3 team. I think Miami's a top 6-ish, 7 at worst probably, and they lost, yeah, by 3 to the Bills, by 4 to the Dolphins. They're only non-cover in this 6-week stretch by a half point to the Dolphins. 3.5-point dogs lose by 4, and I had Detroit, like I think it was +6 or 7 when they went at Minnesota early in the year. They got out to a 14-0 lead. Minnesota scored 14. But then they went back up 24-14. Minnesota never led until 45 seconds left. They throw a 29-yard touchdown pass, and they win 28-24. But I still covered. They should have won that game. And in this 6-game stretch I'm talking about, they've played so well. Jared Goff, 8 touchdown passes, only 1 interception. And look, it's not part of my reasoning here that Minnesota's a fraud. I feel like we hear that every week from a lot of national pundits because they have had some good fortune, et cetera, et cetera. This is not a against Minnesota play. This is a
Yep.
play on Detroit. Minnesota's been good to me. I've taken them a lot this year, and they've been good to me. So there you go with Detroit. And I'm also, look, I like Brock Purdy. He started 46 games in college, 81-33 TDI ratio. I mean, it was probably the record wasn't like super duper great, but I mean, it was probably the best 4-year run of success Iowa State's had in decades. And he played pretty good last week. And Tampa Bay, Oh, and by the way, it's -3.5 even money. So that means you can buy the half point and not have to pay a fortune. You probably get it for -120 or -125 at worst. So make sure to buy the half point to 3. But San Fran's defense is so good, and they cannot protect Tom Brady, and
At all.
they're
It's
just
going to
getting
be a nightmare.
they're just getting these miracle wins, and they're fortunate, really fortunate to be 500. But anyway, I like the Niners.
Yeah, and I feel you. Look, and also for Purdy, it's not like Shanahan's going to ask him to do a lot either.
Right.
Right. Like we get that. And you're right, dude. The Bucs offensive line is going to be in absolute hell this weekend. Absolute hell. Because if anybody thought that the Niners were cranking that defense up before, buddy, it is about to be a horror show.
We got to go help our rookie quarterback by dominating even more.
It's gonna be a nightmare, man. And also, I take a look. Anybody when prop bets come out, look at Tom Brady's pass attempts. Last couple of weeks, man, he's been at 50. Like he is having to throw the ball a ton. So pay attention to that one. I agree with you. I like that. All right, I only have 2. Dolphins Chargers Sunday Night Football. Taking the over in that game. I think the Dolphins defense. When you go and play against San Francisco, you come out of that a little banged up. And there's a big wreck. I think it's like teams after playing San Francisco are like 0-10, straight up, like 1-9 against the spread, something like that. And Miami has to go back on the road, like another West Coast game here in Los Angeles. So I'm going to take the over. I think that Miami will score. They'll also give up some points. Chargers will definitely give up some points, but they'll score. I like the over 52.5 in that one. And then Monday Night Football, New England, Arizona, under 43.5. I think that's going to be a hideous game. I think New England wants it to be a hideous game. Belichick's going to muddy that thing as much as he can. You can give me that 43.5 under prime time under. Yeah, I'll ride the hell out of that one with Belichick. All right, that's it. All right, Brian, about 60 seconds here, my man. College basketball, UFC. What do you got, man? What are you looking at this weekend?
Bryce Mitchell, the pride of Arkansas, Thug Nasty, plus 120 underdog on the opener of the UFC 282 pay-per-view card. In the main event, I like Ankalaev to win inside the distance to win the light heavyweight title. It's about an even money bet on the prop to win inside the distance. And then in basketball, Louisville 0-8, both straight up and against the spread.
Unbelievable.
They've lost their last 5 by 19 or more, mostly by a lot more than 19. They are playing FSU, who's only got 1 win as well. But FSU's played good their last 2 games. They covered easily. They played Purdue, one of the best teams in the country, very tough. They went to Virginia and only lost by 5. Virginia's a top 10 team. So I haven't seen a line, but if FSU is minus 11 or 12 or less, hopefully single digits, I'll be on FSU and I'm a fade Louisville in the first half as well. And I think they're playing LIU tomorrow, so the line might be like 40, so who knows. But look to back UConn. They're 10-0 straight up, 9-0-1 against the spread, all 10 wins by double-digit margins.
Boom. There you go. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be live same time next week, Friday, 2 p.m. Central. And we're going to jump into the Orange Bowl with Tennessee and Clemson. So many more bowl games. We're going to break those things down. But as Brian said, it's smart to give it a little time. Let this transfer portal settle in a little bit.
Yep.
And then, we'll start jumping into it. But until then, everybody, best of luck. Let's cash these tickets. We'll see you next week. Thanks.
Good luck, everybody.